Hi. Hi guys, how are you? Good to see you all. So, we're going live today with Ravi Subramanian, one of our favorite all-time supporters of Sonali's book club. And I can't wait for him to join us. Are you guys ready? He's been very productive in this pandemic and in the lockdown. So, I'm excited to hear from him. How come he's so I'm looking forward to this conversation with him. I hope you guys are too. Here's to some book conversation and a good cup of coffee. Cheers. Hey. Hi. Hi guys. Yes, hey, how are you all? Uh-oh. Have I got I've sent a request to Ravi. Guys, this is so difficult. Hi, oh my God. Listen, every time I tried, it's a disaster. I think I'm going to have a heart attack. I promise you. I can't bear these lives. I'm not going to do any more of these. I can't figure out the technology.
How have you been?
I'm good, Ravi. It's so good to see you. And believe me,
Absolutely.
I've had minor heart attacks here. Just trying to get to this live. It's like, I'm like, can you all talk a stupid person's language to me? Because I really feel so utterly stupid when I'm doing these lives and I'm doing technology. But welcome
Well, I
to
was
the
told
book club, Ravi. It's been a while and I'm so happy to chat with you. How has pandemic been for you?
pandemic's been crazy, yeah. So
You've
you've been
been very
spending time at home?
productive in it.
No, in fact, no, Sonali. In fact, I don't think I've been very productive at all in during this pandemic, because for people like us, you need the mind to be
Hello.
slightly. For people like us, you need the mind to be slightly active and
Yeah.
to be slightly creative. And you need a dose of positive energy around you. I think that's been missing during this pandemic, right? So even if I've tried to write quite a few times, but every time I pick up my laptop and sit down to type something, the mind just wanders. And so it's been a crazy 6 months. In fact, I haven't
But
written anything in the last 6 months.
but you've come out with the shorts here. I have them.
Yeah, these two books really were supposed to have been released early, but we kind of held them on. And then we said, fine, they have been lying ready for quite some time. So it's a typical
Okay.
challenge, right? Like you actors face in terms of theatrical release or OTT release. I guess it's a bit similar. So do we do a physical bookstore release or an online release? And we kind of chose to go ahead with the online release for these books. But yeah,
Yes.
it's been crazy 6 months. Otherwise, I don't want to see another 6 months like this ever again.
Oh my God. Yes, I agree with you. So first of all, before we jump into the book, I want to ask you, how's Dharini? How's Anusha? Please say hi to them. It's
Dani's
been,
been fine. Anusha's went back to US, and
oh, she did.
she did. She came in March and went back in August, and she
Okay.
landed there and she got COVID. So it
Then
was it was chaotic at that point in time, but yeah, she recovered within a week and now she's perfectly fine.
she's fine
So
now.
yeah, in
That's a
hindsight,
good
it's a
thing.
relief as well because now next 3-4 months she'll be fine. So
So you see, I feel that, okay, this is the way it is, and this is the way the new normal is. And I think I got a little bit of kind of a head start on adapting to new normals in that sense. And I would say
yeah,
this is the
yeah,
new normal, and we just need to adapt,
yeah,
and we have to be careful. but we need to get on
Mm,
with life, and while being careful, yes, we need to get on with it,
mm.
and we never know
In fact,
what's
after
going to
what
happen.
you've
We
been
can't keep
through, you
waiting
need to be
for
a lot.
something to happen.
Yeah. In fact, after what you've been through, you have to be particularly extra careful, right? In that sense. So,
So I kind of got a head start on sanitizing
yeah.
things, taking care of my immunity. So I had a head start on it. Anyway, people were at bay. I was meeting very few people because I was immunocompromised.
Yeah.
So for me, it was
Yeah.
just an extension of that. But I have to tell you, Ravi, that I feel that the journey with my disease was an easier journey than this
Mm,
pandemic has been. And
mm,
it took me a long time to kind of address and accept the fact that these last 6 months have been harder than the last year and a half has been for me.
mm, mm,
And I feel that's because when I went through I had so much of support, and there was so much of happiness around me, and with
mm,
everybody kind of being there and all that. It took me through it. But in the pandemic, we've all been in this low. So there's been this collective kind of pulling down and
mm,
spiraling
mm.
into a rabbit hole kind of an energy. And pull out of that has been very, very difficult. And I
Yeah.
think for creative people, it has been especially difficult. Some of
Yeah.
them have signed off, like my husband has been like completely productive through this pandemic, and I have no idea how he does it. But it's been crazy how he's been like, I'm like, you were like waiting for a pandemic or what? It's just been, he's been completely creative. So I figure everybody deals with it in a different way. And you were saying that it was a bit difficult for you to deal with the pandemic,
Mm.
and we are hoping that now you'll adapt to the new normal and come out with the newer books other than
Yeah, I
these
hope so.
short stories.
We don't have a choice, right, in that sense. And what worries me about the pandemic is not uh, authors writing books, Sonali, but what worries me more is people picking up and reading more books. I think those who have traditionally been very good readers, and those who read 15, 20 books a year, those guys have been reading instead of 15, 20, maybe 25, 30 books. But
Yeah.
by and large, people have been reading less, and the stores are not open. So people are worried about picking up physical books,
Yes.
worried that they will contract the virus through the books, through
Yes.
contact. Uh, and normally, what happens in India is typically one book gets read by 10 people. So people share the
Yeah.
books, pass it around, and read. That stopped.
Mm.
So, which essentially means that people have stopped buying books and people have stopped reading. And, we look at the book sales numbers across authors and across publishers, they're all tanking,
So,
which doesn't
so
augur
I
well.
would say that look, every situation has a silver lining. In this, we all have to adapt to technology, and we've all been
Correct.
adapting to it. And I have been getting more and more open to various. So, in fact, on the book club, we did an Audible also because I
Mm.
was like, I need that. It was very
Correct.
difficult to kind of read. So I
Correct.
agree with you that it is hard, and especially for physical bookstores, which I must say was always hard. Last few years
Correct.
have been very hard for physical bookstores in
Correct.
any case. So, and
Correct.
I think this pandemic has kind of accelerated that process. But on
Correct.
the other hand, I do find a lot of people kind of accessing books in different ways, and people who have had learning disabilities and who have not really been readers, with the coming
Mm.
of audiobooks and all that, have suddenly kind of started looking at them in a very different way. So I
Correct.
do feel that everything has its plus and minus, and then there is
Correct.
always a phase when something goes up and something has to go down. So
Correct.
today we shall focus on the positives, and the positive is that you're releasing these shorts. What made you write these shorts?
Well, Sonali, there have been a couple of reasons why I decided to bring out this series, and largely because, as you are aware, in our country, nothing sells like romance and mythology. So
Yeah.
there are truckloads of writers writing romance and mythology. Publishers are very happy publishing romance and mythology. Bookstores are very happy stocking up on those. The readers are very happy
You
picking
write
up.
thrillers, and they've always been bestsellers. No,
When
but
you
you
look
write
at
thrillers,
when
and they've always been bestsellers. So
yeah.
so I don't think you should complain about that. We do read
No, 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 no.
thrillers
No,
written by you.
I'm not at all. I'm not at all complaining about it. I'm very happy with the way this entire publishing journey of mine has gone about, and I'm thankful to. I'm quite blessed in that sense that things have happened the way they've happened. But there are a lot of talented writers out there, Sonali, who don't get the release. They don't get their place in the sun, and it's partly because people don't read them, partly because
Mm-hmm.
publishers don't publish them, and
Okay.
and that's the reason why I brought about Shortz. You look at the US. Uh, Thrillers and crime thrillers are probably the biggest genre available or
Right.
sold in the market. Uh, in India, it's a poor third or the fourth as a genre. And in that genre, you have three, four authors who've done well. But by and large,
Right.
you go beyond the third and the fourth, you have nobody. Whereas in romance and mythology, you have tons of writers. And that's probably because the reading habits have been tuned in that sense from the time people started reading. And genuinely, romance and mythology are easier to read than a very involved thriller. And people like us, when we write our books, we
But
put
thrillers
in a
are
lot of.
page turners. How can you say that?
No, when I say involved, I mean you need to be involved in the book when you read
Yes.
a proper thriller, and and
Yeah.
and you can't even afford to slip a couple of pages. Whereas when you
Absolutely.
read a romance or a mythology, there are times when you can move forward, yet the story would not have moved significantly forward. So when I spoke to a few publishers, I sensed a certain amount of hesitation in publishing new authors in this genre. That was because of the sales numbers, I guess. So then I felt maybe if I am able to uh, pick out four or five or six new authors and work with them and bring out these books, books which are simple, books which are not
Mm-hmm.
really complex, multi-layered, plotted books, but and books which are short, which are racy but very, very short, and
Right.
which get over in a couple of hours, maybe 2.5 hours.
Right.
The time it takes to watch Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, you can actually read both these. So I guess that was the thought process behind bringing this out, so that a, a person living in a Bareilly or a person living in Rourkela, when he goes to the
Right.
railway station, picks up these books and kind of gets hooked on to thrillers, and
Right.
doesn't have to really start with complicated thrillers. And then once he
Right.
gets hooked on to thrillers, he just stays, on course. He will read only thrillers all his life, and and the world will get to see five or six new thriller writers. So
Okay.
that was the objective. The the industry has been good to me. So this is also my way of giving it back to the industry, saying here, I'm doing what I can to make sure that
Fantastic.
this
Yeah. So
that this particular
how
genre does
many
well.
do you have in this series?
Uh, I've signed up for 12, uh,
Okay, so
out
this
of
is the
which two.
first two. One is
That's
called
right.
The Brutal Hand,
That's right.
and one is Insomnia, and it's
Correct.
by Jigs Asher. Why Jigs
That's right.
Asher?
Why Jigs Asha? It's a very interesting story. Jigs Asha and I worked together for 10 years back
Oh,
in HSBC. So
what is
Jigs
it
is
about
also,
bankers and writers?
yeah, bankers are used to spinning fiction, right? So they decide to write stories as well. So and Jigs and I worked together. At that point in time, I didn't know at all that Jigs has a writer in him. And then one
Okay.
fine day, I get a call from this guy saying,
Hmm.
Ravi, I've won this Write India contest by Jeffrey Archer. Write India contest
Wow.
has big authors giving out passages, and public at large has to write stories with those passages in
Right.
it. And
Yeah.
then those particular authors will select the key awardees. And
Right.
Jig's story got picked up as the best. So Jig's Asher was the winner there. And I said, wow, I didn't know that you write. And
Yeah.
within a couple of months, he went on to win uh, another Write India contest by Shobadi.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so then we started talking, and I said, look, this is what I want to write. This is
Hmm.
a series which I want to bring out. And he said, why don't I write with you? So I said, that's wonderful.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, "Muh ki baat chhin li tumne to." So then he
Hmm.
started writing. He actually came to meet me, and he brought three plots, and we went through those plots in detail, and we did some tweaks to the plot. Then he put a structure to the
Hmm.
entire thing, and he wrote down a 6, 7 page note on how the chapters would pan out. we tweaked around that, and then
Okay.
he set about his task of writing the book. Then after he wrote the book,
Okay.
then I worked with him to tweak around the chapters, to kind of drop some content, strengthen some parts of the book, and then edited the book before passing it on to the publisher. So it
So,
went through a few
a little bit of
iterations.
a question. Uh,
Yeah,
you've not really. This is your first collaboration. Am
that's
I
right.
right about that?
No, in fact, I wrote earlier. There was one earlier collaboration which was again with a banker, which is a book called My First Book of Money, which was a children's book on
Children's book.
about
Yes,
money.
I
Yeah,
remember that
that's right.
book. We featured it
Yeah,
on
yeah,
SBC Little Ones. It was
that's
a
right.
lovely book which taught little children about money, and it
That's
was
right.
very
Yeah,
educational while being entertaining. I remember that book very very well, and it also came. We also you also at that point of time were doing these lovely boxes. With every
that's right.
month, there would be these
Yeah,
amazing
yeah,
books and little activities on books that would come for the
that's
kids.
right.
And I think everybody who I knew and had a child got that as birthday gifts. I think all the kids who knew me were like, oh my God, this auntie is going to give me books. You know, they were like fed up of me and my book giving. But I was so amazed by the concept and that box that you had put together. It was amazing.
That's
I
right.
don't know if you still have it on. My son has grown up now, so I've not been in touch about that. Does it? Do you still have that
No,
box?
we shut it down because people didn't buy as many boxes as we thought they would.
Uh,
So
that's really sad. It was so amazing and truly
yeah,
I loved it. But digressing from it, how was it? That was a children's book. It was a different thing.
yeah,
But here you were, though it's shorts, you were writing thriller, which is your
that's right.
genre, which is something you're very
Mhm.
comfortable in. Fine, I get it that maybe jigs came with the plot to you. But how was it to hand over control? Look, I know authors also have, they are control freaks. They want their plot. They don't want it to change too much. How was it to kind of hand over that control a bit and, kind of, what do you say, collaborate?
Well, it was difficult because
Just one
this was
question.
the first.
Disha Bhatt is asking, collaborations are better than individual writing, is what Disha is asking also. So while you answer
Okay,
that, maybe you could kind of take that question also with it.
sure, sure, sure. Uh, well, it was difficult in the sense that I had to really cut down on the urge uh, to present my voice to the readers through this book. This book is not my voice. This book is actually Jignesh's words. This is not my word, right?
Oh.
So I had to make sure that I don't impose my choice of language, my choice
Mhm.
of characters, my choice of direction for the plot to take on Jigs. And I was that, and we didn't let egos come in between. Jigs was a person who understood that maybe at this point in time, his understanding of what might work, what might not work is thanks to the 15 years that I've spent in this industry. Uh,
Right.
Mine would probably be more than his, but we never had an issue where I had to give a feedback and either Jigs was not convinced or he didn't convince me against it. So, and two, the fact that we knew each other earlier kind of
Mhm.
made it easier,
Okay.
and the fact that I was very very sure from the beginning that this has got to be Jig's voice out
Voice.
to the readers than my voice. That conflict of imposing my will on it, that didn't
Oh,
happen.
Jigs
That
is
didn't
also
come.
on it. Sorry. Hi, Jigs. Good to see that you've joined us. If you have any questions for us, you can also write in. Good to know that
Or if you
you're
think that
on the
I'm not saying
live.
the truth, you can actually write there, write your comments there. But having said that, no,
Absolutely.
I think we were very clear about that, and Jigs was a fabulous writer in that sense. If you go back and read the book, Sonali, and I've said this in every interview that I've done after that, uh, Jigs writing is very very Western in style, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why. When you read my books or maybe Ashwin's books, for example, our books have a lot of characters and a lot of plot lines, right? And when you
Yeah.
have a lot of characters and multiple plot lines, it's very easy to create that pace, to get a feeling of pace. You jump across plots, you bring in new characters, and hence when the reader kind of gets confused a bit, but also feels
Mhm.
that plots moving at breakneck speed. If you pick up a Patterson, for example, Patterson will only have about 5 or 6 characters in every book, right? And then
Absolutely.
it'll be one incident which will stretch across the book, and then the chapters will move fast, and from the start to the finish, the story will progress.
Right.
Jig's writing is exactly in that manner. You have 5 or 6 characters in every book, and you have very,
Okay.
very short chapters, and you have one incident which then takes its, runs its course through the book. And that's,
Okay.
to my mind, a trait which is not found in very many authors these days. So to
And
that extent, I think it was
that's
very, very easy
amazing,
working
and
with
that's
Jig.
very
Yeah.
interesting to know. So, a
And
question for
and
Jigs,
on
who's
working
on
on
live with
collaboration,
us.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, sorry.
collaborations or yeah, individual writing.
So I think both have their space. In fact, individual writing is all about yourself. So you put yourself out there and you put yourself in public domain and you write what you
Hmm.
want to write. And
Hmm.
and the challenge in collaborations is that when you collaborate with 2 or more people, it's the
Hmm.
consensus which comes out. It's not exactly your view or his view which comes out. And to that
Right.
extent, certain amount of creativity does get stifled in a collaboration. But you need to be mature enough and responsible enough to understand that by nature, collaboration means working together with somebody else and putting things out. So
Right.
the benefit of collaboration is if you have 20 stories in your mind, you can't write all of them. Whereas, with collaboration and with good collaborators, you can write those stories out.
Correct. So this has been the first, but before we move ahead of the collaboration topic, I do want to, Jigs, who's live with us, I do want to ask him, and Jigs, please feel free to type in the answer. Ravi mentioned 3 plots that you came with. So there are, I'm sure, a lot many more plots that are in there. So do you think with after these 2 plots, are we going to look at a full-fledged book? Other than these 2 shorts that you've written, are we looking for a full-fledged book is a question we would like to know. And Jigs, please feel free to write in on this at any point of time. And I'm sure the members would love to know this question. Now, what I want to know from you, Ravi, is that these are the first of the 12 books that you're going to do.
That's right.
Say, by any chance, this has been, I could say, like a honeymoon period. This partner was amazing and you could this went off really well. What if there was a problem? Have you thought about that? Because 12 books is a big commitment. That means you're going to
Correct.
be collaborating with how many? At least 6 authors?
At least 6 or 7 authors, yeah.
Exactly. So, what if there is a problem? Because we are still on collaboration, so I would want to ask you that. This time it was smooth sailing. What if it is not? What would you do then?
Well, I've thought about it, and I do think about what will happen if there's a conflict and the conflict gets dirty. It could well happen.
Hmm.
But I think I also realize, Sonali, that uh, the purpose of Shortz is not to propagate my cause. You know, the purpose of Shortz is clearly to present this new talent to the world. And
Wow.
uh, the reason why conflicts would happen is when you try to garner the light to kind of uh, uh, take over the entire thing and kind of keep them in the shade. And
Right.
that's not going to happen. So for me, my I've written 10, 12 books. I've done what I wanted to do in the world of literature. So and books. So to that extent, my calling is something else. And I don't think I will need to shortchange someone to who's starting a career to kind of prove a point to the world. So no, and I think
Got
if
it.
I'm saying this now, and that's what I think I will do. Okay, so but if there is a conflict, I'll probably let let it go the other way than my way. So I'll be
Understood.
careful about that.
Who are you collaborating with next now?
There are 2 of them, and both of them. One of them is a Write India winner, and the other one is a writer who's after he got to know about Shortz, sent me a story idea. So there are
Okay.
2 of them who have been shortlisted. There is still space for about 5 or 6 more. In fact, I think
Do you
Jigs
have any
was,
women authors who, sorry, do you have any women authors who are interested in writing thrillers?
yes. The next one is a woman
Oh,
author.
that is interesting. That I want to know.
So, yeah. So, so two books from the next author as well. Jigs wrote two, so total of four. But after that,
Hmm.
I'll probably go ahead with one book and author because that gives a platform to a lot many authors than just six. So this one
Okay. Have
also
you been
is
working on the next two books through the pandemic?
yes. So the two books are almost done. We
Okay.
should probably see the two books come out early next year.
Oh, that's 2 months away.
Yeah. So next middle of maybe early second quarter of next year, but yeah, April, May is what we're looking at. So it should come out. And
Okay, that sounds
then
good.
what I also want to do with this entire short series, Sonali, is in India, crime thrillers either mean scams or they mean serial killers. Uh, I want to actually bring out nuances like medical thrillers. I want to bring out legal thrillers. I want to bring out the subgenre of thrillers through this. So I have been wanting to collaborate with the doctor to bring out a medical thriller. So
Nice.
that seems to be working. Let's hope that that happens.
Okay.
Not signed on yet, but I'm kind of chasing someone. Uh,
Right.
Legal thrillers or something like that. And police procedurals, for example. I would like to
Absolutely.
write with a cop. So
Okay.
these are things which I want to do. Let's see how much it fructifies into a book, but let's see. Effort is on.
Is there some germ that is kind of going on in your brain, and you feel that that could be the next idea that you're going to start with?
On Shortz or generically?
No, on your book. We are interested in your books also.
Yeah, I'm writing my next book, which I'm contracted to Harper with.
Yay.
Uh, so that book is a banking thriller again. It's
Okay.
based in the modern day world of banking scams. So let's see how things pan out there.
I think there are quite a few of them coming out in real life, so we will be very
Seriously,
interested in
man.
reading this. There's like
The
a
newspapers these
new
days,
banking scam every day.
yeah, the
What have
newspapers
you
these days
bankers
read
been
like straight out
doing?
of a book. Yeah, bankers are bankers
It's
are greedy,
crazy.
Sonali.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, it is crazy. I mean, life has become a dystopian thriller right now, and
Yeah, yeah.
world at large. And what we would read in your books has become the news headlines and news every day is more thrilling than thrillers at times. So it's you have
Yeah.
competition. I would say that all your thriller writers have competition. Ravi, I
From
must
the
say that this idea of collaborating, coming out with medical thrillers, legal thrillers, police procedural thrillers is a fantastic idea. I think where Indian stories are concerned, we've not had these. So
Yeah,
normally when you read those, be it like John Grisham or whatever, it talks about law that is of some other country. So when you
correct.
would bring in this and when you talk about laws that are applicable to us here, I think it's going to
Correct.
be far more interesting read, and really, really looking forward to that.
Touch wood.
Uh,
Yeah,
the
I hope it works.
the
Yeah.
Yeah. So the members are asking if they can ask questions, and I want to tell you all that of course you can. Please write in, and as I keep reading, and I am able to read it. My eyesight has become worse, but yes, I am able to read it, and we will keep putting that question out. We just got a question that is, which is your favorite legal thriller?
The first one that I read, which was The Client by John Grisham. I can read
Ah,
the book 10 times over.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so John Grisham, you would say. Um, there are other members there are people who are, writing. Jake says, yes, Sonali, I'm writing my full-fledged thriller next. It is around 80% complete. Working title is The Strike of the Serpent. It has an assassination at the core of the plot. Guys, we've got the scoop. Sonali's book club members, we've got the scoop. Jigs is coming out with a new thriller, which is a full-fledged one. So looking
And I
forward
must
to this.
confess,
Jigs, all the
Sonali,
best for it.
I must confess I've read the synopsis of the book. I have read the uh, the 4-page outline of the book, and it's brilliant.
Okay. Looking
So no
forward to
more,
this, Jigs.
no
All
more
the
scoops
best
on
for
that.
it.
But yeah, it's brilliant.
So,
In Jigs, you have a very, very good author, Sonali. In fact, you will hear a lot more of him in the coming years. And uh, I think the good thing about him is the good thing for any author is the humility, and I think he's is very, very humble, and I think that kind of adds to the aura around him. So watch out for him.
that's really high praise coming from a really established author. So we are really looking forward to discovering Jigs as an author. I know he is a banker too, but we are really looking forward to discovering him. Shrishti wants to know that have any of your characters been inspired by real people?
You know the answer, don't you?
I'm not going to say anything about this. I know we've had conversation about this. And can I take that question
Yeah, I
and
think you
let the
should.
cat out of the bag? Yes,
Absolutely.
Shrishti, there are a lot of them inspired by real people. But yes, he's a thriller writer. He's a fiction writer. It does get fictionalized. But all of us kind of take a bit of like kind of a, we do take inspiration from real life. Any creative person does that. So yes, that is true.
So
Did I
almost
answer it
every
right?
character in my book has been inspired by real life characters. Though I must confess that everything that happens in the life of a character in my book would not have happened, would not have taken place in the life of that character in real. So if a character in my book goes through A, B, C, D,
Okay.
E, he may have actually gone through A, somebody else would have gone through B, etc. So it's just that those real life instances form the core of the book. That's it. So
So it's the base, like a personality or something like that. That's what inspires you. You take it from there and then fictionalize it. Nice, very, very nice. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming from you, Ravi, next. And I'm looking forward to these shorts. A request, can you kind of hurry them up a bit? Because with this pandemic and short attention spans, this I think is a brilliant idea. I have been finding it very difficult to focus on really, really heavy and big long books. So I think this is a great idea to mix it up with whatever the big book that you're reading. Quickly pick up a thriller, read it, finish it, and move on. So can you come out with them a little faster? How fast can you
absolutely.
do this?
And when it's in publishing, I'll send you a copy of that much before it comes out. Like
That would be lovely.
you got the story of the Don't Tell the Governor before I even wrote it. So
Yes, I did. Absolutely. Enjoyed it thoroughly then also. So this time round, because I haven't read the shorts, but the next time we do it, I would have read the shorts then. So send them to me earlier and we will take it from there. Um, um, Anshul Gautam wants to know is how do you make progress in the story? Anshul, that does go into kind of like a master class. And
absolutely,
ideally, I
it's
would not have wanted to get into that. But Anshul, I know you're a really, really valued member of the book club. And if you can kind of indulge Anshul and give an answer on this in as short as possible, it would be lovely.
see, Anshul, if you how do I progress the story? Well, let me step a little bit back and then answer this question. There are multiple ways in which you write a book when you write a story. You either write on the go, or you sit down first, plot a story, and then you kind of have the entire outline in front of you, and then you write the book. Uh, Both are good ways of writing it. Jigs, for example, plots the entire story on an Excel worksheet, chapter by chapter, and then starts writing. Normally, when you write a thriller, that's a
Do you
good
think that
way to
has
do.
something to do with the fact that he's a banker?
Probably. Bankers are a lot more organized in that sense. So maybe it's because of that. But I'm a banker too. And I don't write that
And
in that manner. So
oh,
I start writing my first chapter and then keep going chapter by chapter. And then, sometimes get stuck, sometimes go back and rewrite, etc. So the way I write works for me, but it may not be the best way to write. The way a few of my writer friends write is that they plot everything on an Excel worksheet. So if you are struggling to take the story forward, then the best way for you to do is to actually go back and plot the entire story. And at every point in time in the story, you start thinking of options. What can happen? this character can either do A, B, or C to take the story forward. Then go
Mm-hmm.
back and start thinking of what the reader would be expecting. If the reader would be expecting A or B, then take the option C and say, okay, the reader would be least expecting this, and hence let this character go forward in this particular direction. So you will have to plot the story. You can use mind maps, you can use flow charts. I sometimes, when I get stuck, use my entire glass cupboard and start plotting my story on that. And sometimes uh, I get so wild when my mate goes and rubs off that from the glass cupboard. But then so happened once. Then I started taking pictures of those so that it stays. Uh, but yeah, so being a bit organized in storytelling helps. So if you are struggling to take your story forward, I think the best thing to do is to get a little bit more organized and plot your story up front. Also, what helps you when you're writing a story is to discuss your story with a few close aides of yours. Could be your friends, could be your family, could be someone who's a good listener, and then discuss the options. When I used to write my story, my favorite sounding board used to be Dharni and Anusha. Anusha more than Dharni. Dharni would read the story once it's complete at certain level. But my daughter would be a sounding board who would come up with ideas saying, okay, this can happen, that can happen. And then I would kind of think about it and include that in the plot. So discussing plot lines does help you fine tune the story and take it forward.
Okay. So Books Box wants to know, how different is writing a script for a movie and writing a typical full-fledged book? Have you written a script for a movie ever?
I've sold my books for a movie, but I have walked away from writing scripts for movies.
Why?
And a couple of reasons, Sonali. One, writing a book is not the same as writing a script. The commercial impact of a script is a lot.
Is what they want to know. How is it different?
Yeah. It's different in your mind. And I'll tell you why and how it's different in the mind. When you're writing a book, you're not worried about the commercial aspects of it. You're writing a story which you want to tell, right? It's in my mind. I want to put it out. I write the story in that manner. When you're writing a script, you have to keep in mind that it's going to be a multi-crore movie. Okay, somebody else's money is going to back it. So somewhere at the back of your mind, the commercials start putting pressure on you to make sure that you write what the audience wants to see. And two, the more important thing is the creative freedom or the creative liberty that you have in writing a script is very different from the creative liberty that you have in writing while writing a book. My close friend Anand Nilkanthan used to say that when you are discussing a script in these production houses, even the person serving tea there will have an idea or will have a thought on what needs to go into the script. So anybody can come there and rubbish you. So somewhere, I think then your pressures start coming in. And I didn't get into this to listen to somebody else and write. I got into this to write my own story, write the stories that I wanted to tell.
Okay.
So somewhere my construct, my mental makeup does not allow me to get into something where I don't have complete freedom of expression. And that's why I don't see myself as a script writer. Having said that, they say that never say never in life. You never know which direction life will take you.
Yeah, fair enough. But because I come from the industry, I would like to say something that it's fair enough that every a book author needn't be a script writing and writing a book is different, but it's a collaboration. And now that you are doing collaborations with different authors, maybe you just might be able to collaborate on a script also. You never know.
Maybe at the end of the Shortz exercise, I may realize that collaborating on creative thoughts is, after all, not that difficult. And maybe at that point in time, I decide to step in and write a script. Also, with my day job, a script also kind of is too much of a demand on your personal time, and the way the industry works is very, very different. Now
because there would be timeline, and you would have to finish it in certain time constraint.
So here,
fair enough.
For example, there was this one of this series which is making waves on one of the OTT platforms. about uh, uh, a stock market. Uh, I was supposed to be a part of that in terms of helping them script it. But I had to walk out of it
Okay.
because I figured out that there was no way I would be able to devote the kind of time that they would be expecting, and it would be unfair on
Ah.
them and unfair on me as well. So I walked out. So I don't think at this point in time there will be, as long as I have a day job and as long as I have the mindset that I currently have, scripts are slightly out. And
Mm-hmm.
in fact, when people came to me for buying off the film rights for my books, uh, the constant question was, would you
Mm-hmm.
be interested in writing the script at that point in time? And my refrain was, if you need me to be involved, I will be involved, but I'm happy if you decide to not involve me in what you want. So there I kind
Right.
of just love John Grisham's approach, which is take your money and scoot. So you sell your book, take your money and scoot. You do
It's a
what you
good
want
one.
to do. Yeah,
Look, there's a positive for that for us book lovers, because the fantastic part for us is that you will not be writing scripts. Hence, we will get more books. That's a good. So we are very happy with the fact that your state of mind is this. We love it. Please write more books. Looking forward to more books. Um, uh, Other than that, what next? Is there anything that, we've been through a pandemic, it's been life altering for all of us? Is there anything that you would like to share with us, maybe which has been like a learning through this, and the way you've dealt with it, anything that you could share with us about the past 6 months?
I think what I'm coming to learn now, Sonali, in life, just accept them and move on. And pandemic is something which is, as you said, is here to stay. There is nothing you can do about it. So there's no point cribbing about it and then worrying about it. Just take your precautions and move on with your life is what I would say. In fact, I loved PV Sindhu's tweet yesterday on I Retire, and I think that was a brilliant one. And it says shed all the negativity, embrace positivity. Life will move on. So will you. So I think that's what all of us have to do. We've lost 6 months of our life to this pandemic. No more.
So I have another take on it. When you said lost 6 months, uh, for me, I had lost out on a certain amount of time that I would have been with my family. So, frankly, for me, the last 6 months has been a gain, because I got family time, I got bonding time, especially when your son, my son turned 15, now. So suddenly, for that part that I had lost out on it, especially when you're recovering and everything, it was literally like I got him all to myself. And with all of our lives being so hectic, and because the last 2 years with us being on different continents, and kind of dealing with a lot of stuff, it was not so, we were not that much together. So suddenly here we were with no friends coming in, nobody else coming in, no other distractions, just us at home. And I must say, it was literally like a gift to me. Like, it was
Yeah,
a time that I had lost out on was given back to me.
yeah,
So it's,
yeah,
again, like you said, it's just the way we look at things. So
yeah.
I would say I didn't lose out on time. I mean, I gained something in this time. So
Mm.
here it is, to a lot of positivity. And like I always say in my things, it's one day at a time, take one day at a
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Let's try and switch on the sunshine. And new normal, we have to understand, if we keep hankering after what we thought was the normal, we will never
yeah,
be completely happy and satisfied. So we
yeah,
just have to kind of start looking for new normal.
yeah.
And in that, we shall look forward to many more books from you. And we are really looking forward to more shots. Guys,
Thank you very
here,
much.
before we say bye, I want to just show you this, a brutal hand and insomnia. Go get them. These are the shots, quick ones while you're reading your book. These are the go-to for a quick mood change in between. Ravi, thank you so much for being here. You've always been an ardent supporter of the book club, and we really value the time you give us. Thank you for
Thank you very
that.
much, Sonali.
And really happy to have seen you, though it's virtually. I hope we can meet personally also soon. Give my love to
Sure.
Dharini
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Anusha. And
sure.
thank you so much. And Jigs, if you're still on it, all the best to both
Yeah.
of you. Looking
Thank
forward
you
to
very
more
much, Sonali.
shots.
You've been a wonderful
Thank
host, and
you.
look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Yeah. Best of luck.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Lovely.